education across the nation is not same. In few medical colleges, it may be medicine department is very good, other department surgery is very good, like that. But we want to provide a platform whereby the best teachers of the world will share their knowledge, and then it will be accessible to majority of the students or doctors across the nation. And this today's session is basically an idea how we can develop innovative instrument strategy, etc., at a hospital or at a community center. And this will this basically starts with helping someone. You are working as a doctor in the hospital, then you're at back of the mind, some few patients are not improving, or few patients are improving with a lot of effort. Or in community, when you go, you think that there is a malnutrition, there's a lot of a problem. So how to solve that problem? So basically, the innovation or research starts with a helping nature. I would like to help the population. It starts with that. And if you go for that, then only you will be able to do some new research. Now, story of highly prevalent nutrition disorder. I start with a story that there is a problem of anemia. And I was sitting as a doctor in the village RD of a Petla Taluka of Anand district. I was working as an assistant professor in a medical college, and as a part of that, I was used to go to RATC. Now, lots of anemic patients are seen over there, and of course, we are going to give a dietary advice, iron folic tablet, etc. But then patient discontinue as they feel better. And you know that iron folic tablet, once you start, patient will get better within 1 week. Of course, the hemoglobin level may increase afterwards, but there is an immediate feeling of wellness within 1 week. And so patient said, now I feel better. Why should I continue the treatment? They discontinue. So I thought we should find out some mechanism by which this can be done. So I started using a mirror and asked patient to compare their tongue with my tongue. Because my tongue was a red and patient's tongue were pale. So it is very easy that they can detect, yes, doctor, your blood is much higher than ours. So this is a simple technique, keeping a mirror in your clinic to convince them still your blood is not proper, still you are paler. So you continue your tablet for another 3 months, 6 months, like that. Ideally, it should be continued for 3 months after the hemoglobin level is restored for the purpose of iron storage. But these I could do because my hemoglobin was good. But when I taught my health worker to go and explain, and health workers themselves, hemoglobin is much less. In recent our study in medical college itself, we found that more than 50% nurses were having a pale hemoglobin 9, 10, 8, something like that. How these people will be able to use the mirror? So what we tried, we applied the photographs surrounding the mirror so that independent of the who is the health worker or doctor, patient can see themselves in the mirror, can find out whether they are anemic or not. So we label this instrument as a mukta, multi-purpose. Yeah, once this instrument of mirror can be used for the dental, or you can use it for the in a desert. You can use for the reflector, or you can use for looking at the anemia or not. You can use to comb your hairs. So multi-purpose, universal applicable, whether the person is literate or illiterate, everywhere can you can use this. And the moment you show them this mirror with the posters around, people will get together because everybody would like to see their face, how they are looking. So, and now keeping this as a tool, people will get together, you share your knowledge about this. And treatment tracker, whether the person has taken adequately treatment or not, till they become a red, right? They will continue the treatment. Affordable by all, because the instrument costing 20 rupees, 50 rupees can be afforded by all the communities. And for 1,000 population, one instrument is sufficient. So, the mukta is a Gujarati word, means freedom, freedom from anemia. So that is what we say, the instrument mukta. This is how is the story goes, and it improves. And once you detect anemia, then naturally work efficiency will improve, their symptoms will go off, and this becomes such a simple, the school children themselves can find out the anemia in the society. So we started using for the school children, and 30,000 students were trained how to use this instrument. They, all the students, they were given this instrument in turn. Out of 10 students, one student uses today, next student use next day, like this. This is a strategy. And we also evaluated whether there is a significant difference or not between 30,000 students who were trained and 30,000 students who were not trained with a proper the package. And this will help not only in preventive the anemia and treatment of the anemia, but is basically a social movement for the awareness generation in the society. And this is a one the slide how it looks. There are various types of anemia poster. In the center, you keep a mirror, and surrounding there are the photographs, and all the pale and the red color is seen. And in the same poster on back of that, we have written what will happen if there is anemia, what are the reason, how it you can treat it, what are the food stuff which you should be taking, some slogans. So it's an overall the instrument which helps in tackling the anemia. If government wants or any NGO wants, within 1 week, 1,000 population can be screened with almost zero cost. Now, what is the advantage? Is the low cost self-examination is possible. You need not prick repeatedly to take a hemoglobin, and progress of anemia status can be seen. This is the power of innovation. And irrespective of electricity, you can carry on anywhere, and good to start. There is a inter-observer bias, time bias, instrument bias, etc. can be avoided, provided all the instruments are printed in the single factory. And this can also be used at a various places. You want to see your jaundice or your dental caries, etc. can also be used. And small scale research, if you want to do for intervention of anemia, whether it can be done with the iron powder or the iron folic tablet or a diet control, all this research can also be utilized. And you can see 1.25 lakh such instruments are there across the nation, and people are using very happily, including the medical students going to the field also. So this is a social initiative, and such a small innovation can make a lot of change. Now, when we want to start some innovation, if we are very clear that my purpose of life is a peace and happiness, I would like to increase it. Of course, anybody's life will have that, but people may spell out in a different manner. So, if you want to increase your peace and happiness, you need to measure it, and you can find out whether it has increased or not. So, if this is the purpose of life, then statistics, epidemiology, and research will be useful in this also. Now, when we go for exploring some problems, there are two things. One is the ideal, and other is not ideal. But then there is a middle word, there is a practical ideal. I will give an example that ideally a two less than 2 gram hemoglobin should be treated by blood transfusion or some intravenous injection. But you don't have this facility. What do you do? Then at that time, you can give iron folic tablet, you can give a dietary advice, and that becomes a practical idea for that situation. You may say that this person requires, let's say, the very good type of the treatment of full malaria, for example, resistant malaria, which require all those things. But you don't have at that time all those tablets. Then you can go with the basic treatment. And your purpose at that point of time, give a good hydration along with water tablet you have, and prevent death till you get other kinds of the treatment. So during research also, so many people say that your anemia poster is not at all useful, because there are a lot of bias. There can be change in the tongue color, the light is different, etc. So they go for hemoglobin. Now, of course, that is ideal, but when masses are there and you need to, you cannot reach to the last man. At that time, lot of giving a pricks and getting a lot of instruments. At that time, you need to go for practical ideal. And other thing is, what is the truth? Truth is something which is helpful to the society. So that ultimate truth, if you want to get it, then this research, statistics, epidemiology will be helpful, because these statistics will not tell you 1 plus 1 is equal to 2, but it will tell you if you something add near to the 1 in another thing which is near to the 1, it will be near to 2. It is not said exactly 2. So statistics is taking you near to the truth, and it is not an absolute truth. Now, all those who are attending in my introductory lecture, I talked about this web of position. Those who are attending, if you have by chance your mobile with you or notebook with you, this you must write down 5 times, ask why. And I tell you, this will be so helpful in the life, whether you are in the social life or in the medical life, or if you're talking about the patient or you're talking about any situation. If you ask why, then other thing is you should ask so what. Then probably you will be able to do the root cause analysis, and you'll be able to find out so what. So whether you should be taking first or other disease you should be taking first. So I classically take an example of malaria. So if you ask why malaria, maybe insect mite which is infected, and there is a low immunity. Why low immunity? Problem in diet. Why problem in the diet? Lack of education or senses. They don't have a control over the senses. Why then mosquito breeding? Because people don't dispose the water in a proper manner. Why they don't do that? Because the corporation or government is not providing the outlet, or if they are providing, people are having lethargy. So you go on asking the question for each factor why 5 times, then probably you will be able to do the root cause analysis. And this malaria, you treat it and calm down. It's not like that. Because of malaria, there will be daily wage losses somewhere. Other people might have a lack of the attention in the education, so lack of education leading to unemployment, then leading to again the low in the dietary pattern. And because of low diet, again, you may have low immunity, and that's why you can have malaria. So malaria itself might be increasing the malaria, positive cycle can go there. So if you find out so what, something you can break. For example, if you treat the malaria at a stage, for example, theoretically in the whole India, we are treating the malaria perfectly, ideally, including private practitioner, then malaria can be prevented to less than 1%. Suppose right now the prevalence is let's say around 50 per thousand. Then you can bring down to less than 1 per thousand within 1 month. Because if you treat everyone, then mosquito cycle will break, and only the liver cycle will be there. Coming from the liver, that will be the Plasmodium vivax, but not the falciparum. So if you learn so what and what is to be done for each factor and what is to be done for the why also, then we'll be able to control the disease in a best possible manner. So now, if there is a problem and we find out these are the root causes and these are what is the problem. So how can I do this? How can we do this? In individual, what can be done, and collectively, what we can do. Suppose in malaria, if you try to control alone, you are bound to fail. Rather, you are going to harm the people. You are giving a primacin as a radical treatment, but it is of no use because you are giving primacin not for the person themselves in case of plasma falciparum, but to prevent to other person. But other people are not giving, so you might be harming a patient in a subtle way. So it's a collective wisdom. We should work collectively, then we can get much faster. Now I will be talking about another innovation, how it can be done, and then we'll be going. So a doctor was going to a village meeting at late night, and he himself was unable to see the path while going back to the parking area of the vehicle, while the people were comfortably able to see at that night. And so he has to follow the villagers who are comfortable in walking in the dark. So the doctor himself is suffering from night blindness, but was not aware. Why? Was it a poor diet? Why there was a late detection? There could be accident at night because of night blindness. So what was the reason? And so the same doctor uh, went to another village and found that people are coming back by 5 p.m. and not everyone is at 5 p.m. in one village. Other village after 5 p.m., 6 p.m. people come, it is normal. But in one village, 5 p.m., most of the people come back. So both the examples are of night blindness. A doctor was suffering from night blindness. He could detect it only when he went to the village. And the villages over here, they were coming back because of night blindness. In this village, when we gave vitamin A level, and then next week when we went there at 5 p.m., no one was there because everyone could work beyond 5 p.m. So a single problem, if you look at the in a better way, then you can find out the solution. So we found out that if a night blindness, if you want to detect, what can be done? So we found out the vitamin A machine in which we can do the night, we can mimic, we can simulation the night in a simple instrument, can find out whether the person having is night blindness or not. This machine will cost less than 1 rupee per test. While you go for vitamin A level, you will cost 2000 rupees in 2 days. So this is how innovation is taking place. This nutrition software, again, the same thing will be given to all of you free of cost, and you can use it for the better nutrition purpose. This is our approach. Our approach for research is basically we would like to combine all the pathies, homeopathy, healing, and all others, Reiki, Sujok, etc., Unani, modern medicine, in which I have done my MD in community medicine, Ayurveda, and nature cure. So I have studied most of the pathis from the experts, and then have over a period of last 45 years, I've used this together in a different context, different learning procedures, and found that we need to have human healthcare system, and we should adapt best of all and worst of none. And these slides and these efforts were systematically done in 1991. And now people are talking about lifestyle modification, which we started in 1991. So, if we combine this nature cure, Ayurveda, etc., along with the modern medicine, we can definitely reverse the thyroid condition, diabetes, hypertension, even the Crohn's disease or the various autoimmune disease is possible. And for that, we have People's Health and Development Trust, where we have the ATG exemption as well as CSR certificate. And our motto is, if you can do good, it's wonderful. At least you do one good task, but that you can't do it, at least do good thought that let today everyone in the world who are admitted in the hospital, let them get cured. So some good thoughts can be done. Everybody was hungry, Right now I'm Rourkela High Tech Medical College working as a D. So I would thought that all the people in the Rourkela who are hungry should get feeding appropriately. At least doing a thought, it doesn't, you need not spend anything. And this is our mass level education efforts, where our efforts are that every thousand population, two male and two female people should be trained thoroughly, not only in basic care, but the epidemiology, statistics, and research method is for the villagers also. And they should be able to find out their problems, what is the solution, then only you will be able to find. Only the research in Ivory Tower is not sufficient. These are some of the ideas how we are integrating the things, right? And there is a wonderful app which combines the area wise, the distribution, topic wise distribution, and you choose whatever you want. It's not like WhatsApp but like this, so you get whatever junk you get, right? So we are thinking of organic farming also, and that you can find out the difference between organic farming paid people and not organic farming people, right? So in Corona we did find out the prevention kit, home kit. There are so many ideas. So now we stop over here and we start with the epidemiology. So before I start epidemiology slides, it's basically a session to discuss upon. I think it is enough for you that you should be involved in some kind of research. So now we start with epidemiology. So the if you have some quick question, I would be happy to answer any question. So, okay, if there is any question, you can enter because one part is over, then how innovation can be done. Now, the epidemiology basically. So, the word epidemiology, instead of this, we can say that is basically a science to find out the cause, right? And how to prevent. So why and so what? If you do it and find out how to prevent the disease, that is basically the purpose of epidemiology. And before you use the word epidemiology, when you want to apply somewhere, you should have in mind and how much population you are going to use it, because it is basically in the population, whether it's a patient's population or maybe is a population in the community, it doesn't make any difference. You are working the population, and it basically works describe the disease occurrence in community, and then how these diseases are influenced by various factors. So the Sherlock Holmes, he was used to find out how the what happens. No, is the mystery was to reveal. Similarly, epidemiology finds out the mystery. When thousands of people were dying in the COVID-19, epidemiology is the one who's guided the people why this occurs and how it can be treated. Unfortunately, people across the world are not united, and because of that there is a lot of death. So if you would have a one combined database across the world, I won't say the 8 billion people, but even 8 billion people across the world, in various of the world, unite together and have a common database, then probably epidemiology will be much better. And that is our purpose. We would like to develop the family healthcare system, which is a common across the world. Now, definition I would not like to go. I will just say in the population, you do some study, that is epidemiology, in which there are various branches will be there. And the epidemiology, what I would say that uh, in a simple word is an observational. So in observing, what do we do? Time, place, person. When it is occurring, where it is occurring, and who are affected. That is an observation. So, in epidemiology, if you want to remember what is epidemiology, is basically distribution and determinants. Distribution and determinants. So, distribution means time, place, person. When it is occurring, where it is occurring, who are affected. So time, place, person, there's an observational epidemiology. And then if you find out why and how, then it is a finding out determinants that comes under analytical epidemiology. So when I say if you want to remember what is epidemiology, then it is basically to understand, to study the distribution and determinants of disease or health event. Now, this word, the health event, is very important. Initially, it was found, epidemiology was used for cholera and typhoid, infectious disease. Later on, it was to find out the diabetes, hypertension, etc. But now we can use it for health event also. So I just want to find out if chat is open for all. If I ask you a question, do you think can we do study? Can we do study of study like epidemiology of headache. Can we do this? Is it possible? Answer yes or no. We have epidemiology of diabetes, epidemiology of malaria, etc. But can we do study like the symptom epidemiology headache? Right? Yes or no? At least 2 or 3% should be aware. Then only I will continue to talk. Either right, yes or no, or just write uh, do not know. Are you allowed to write? Can you open your mic and say whether
No,
you
no, no, sir. We are not allowed to write, sir.
then I will ask the person to, because if chat is not allowed, then there is no purpose in this whole now next few minutes. Right? Discussion is has to be there. Just a minute. You think over this. Okay, meanwhile, anyway, at least can you can open the mic. So 1 or 2% may just give me answer whether epidemiology headache can be done or not. Can we do a study like this?
Yes, sir. Can we? We can do.
Anyone else? Anyone else? One another answer, and then I will start.
We're not
One
sure.
another. No, not sure. So basically, now the epidemiology has broadened the things. It can be used for the headache also because epidemiology means in the population you want to find out a particular disease or health event. And by headache is a health event. So, but when you do the epidemic study of headache, you should define headache of how long, what kind of nature headache, in which population, male or female, in which society. So all this you need to define, refine, then it will be better to use this word epidemiology at that point of time. Now we have observational research, experimental research, both the things. In experimental research, we'll be doing much higher. You are doing some experiment, you are doing some intervention, right? And or it may be a natural intervention, or it may be the man-made intervention. Now we'll be going a little bit about this. Descriptive is time, place, person. Time, place, person. You're describing, right? And this analytical is why and how. Now, today, introductory, I did talked about the Epi Info software. Again, I'm going to go for Epi Info software because that gives a how to do the analysis very easily. Now, in this study design, in this complication, you forget the complication, just remember descriptive and analytical. Descriptive and analytical. This descriptive means time, place, and person. Analytical means why and how. In this why and how, this cohort study, cross-section, and case control study are such a simple thing. It is very, very easy to understand. So, Let's say that I want to do the epidemiological study of some disease, let's say malaria. In malaria, you want to do the cause study, or in diabetes, you want to do the cause study. So, in cause study, what happens? Basically, you have two groups, three groups, or four or five groups. And that groups are basically based on the factors, based on factors, the factors which affects the disease. So, for example, you have five groups. One group is having a vegetarian diet, other is a non-vegetarian diet. Third group is staying in an urban area and a combined diet. Fourth group is with the rural area, like this. You have five groups, and you want to follow them. Now, we have taken heterogeneous group, some in urban, some in rural, and vegetarian, non-vegetarian, etc. But in core study, you should define that the groups should be accept the factors which you want to study, accept that rest of the thing, if possible, try to make a common. For example, if you want to compare veg and non-veg versus malaria or versus tuberculosis or versus diabetes, in that case, try to compare urban population with urban population. If you want to say you want to the want to have four groups, urban rural, then in urban rural both veg non-veg, then you will have four groups. So you need to want to start with the core study when we want to start. At that time, try to find out what is the causative agent which you would like to compare with the outcome. So in core study, you have two, three, four groups in which you follow those groups and then you decide in which group disease occurrence is more. That is a cohort. You start with a cohort. Cohort and cause. Cohort and cause. You start with that and then look at the outcome. That is a cause study. In case control study, you are starting with a case. Person has already suffered from diabetes, hypertension, malaria, tuberculosis, and you are comparing with a control who are not suffering. So case control study is a case versus control, suffering versus no suffering, and then ask in the both the groups whether you were exposed to particular factors or not about the diet or sleep or exercise or the environment, all those things you are asking there, right? So in case control study and cause study are very clear, but in case of cross-sectional study, at the same point of time, you are looking whether the factors are there or not and diseases are there or not. This is a cross-sectional study within a is cross-section doesn't mean at a within 1 minute of what happens or within one day what happens. Your cross-section could be 1 day or 2 day or 5 days also. It could be, we can say the cross-section. Basically, what we are trying to study both the things together, the factors affecting and the outcome. Now, in experimental study, it is basically a cause study. But in cause study, what happens? The reason are already naturally there, factors were there. While experimental study, what we are doing, we are randomly dividing the population into two groups. In one group, we are doing some study or intervention, other group we don't do the intervention. And these groups are if are randomized and divided into two, three, four groups, it is a randomized control study. Otherwise, it is only the control study, experimental study. So in experimental study, if we randomize the people, that will be much better, right? So we'll be going in further detail later on also, but why we are going parallel? Because all these things are intermingled. When we talk about research studies, same thing people are going to which research method you are using. A research method basically includes the epidemiological methods. Now, till now, we were just talking about the quantitative study in which factors affecting, non affecting. But there are some things sometimes the qualitative things data are also very useful, right? And the qualitative word has two things. I remember qualitative in terms of disease present, absent, or vegetarian, non-vegetarian, or person staying in hill area, non-hill area. That is also qualitative. The qualitative, the variable, and quantitative variable, the height, weight, is a quantitative variable. But in qualitative study, there are other connotation also in which we go in beyond this data analysis. We catch hold of one or two or three individuals. We take the detailed history. What is the process going on? When we talk about the processes going on behind some condition, that altogether becomes another qualitative study. So qualitative word has two connotation. Now, the type of question asked by researcher will determine the type of study approach. Which study I should be taking? I should have go for the qualitative, quantitative analysis, etc. Now, when you want to describe a population who are affected, when they are affected, and the when, where, and who, then describe. It's a descriptive study. But when you want to start the relationship between two factors, you because now you want to find out the causal factors, at that time it becomes you quantify the things. Remember that the qualitative data can also be quantified in two manners. For example, 50 people affected, 50 not affected. It was affected not because it was qualitative, but you are counting now, and you can also find out statistical difference in that also in percentage also. Other thing is qualitative data, right? Into quantitative assay, but quantitative data can also be considered qualitative. For example, your hemoglobin level, you divide into three categories. So that category, in that you can have find out the percentage also. So this is very important because where to apply standard of mean and where to apply standard of proportion. For that, I will give you this very simple flow chart and very simple the tips that if you can find out from the data the percentage, you go for standard of proportion. If you kind of find out that from data the mean, then you go for standard of mean. If you have two groups, go for standard of difference between two proportion, go for standard of difference between two mean. These four things we are going to see in terms of chart when we do the actual exercise. Again, this PPT will be given to you so that you can study. Right? Now, here I would like to stop and I would like to take you to something on statistics. And then we'll be at the end, we'll talk about how to use AP info. We'll open simple any uh, any Excel file, and now we want to learn something on statistics. Now, as I told you that there is a difference between mathematics and statistics. If 1 plus 1, then it is 2. This is mathematics. But if some figure is near to the 1, suppose it's a 0.9, and you add another thing which is near to the 1, which is zero point 0.9, then this total is going to be 1.8. But if it is near to zero point 0.9, near to zero point 0.9, then it will be near to 1.8, not exactly the 1.8. Near to 1 you add, then it will be near to 2. Now, this thing is important to understand. Statistics will never say that you are normal or you are abnormal. It says always in terms of probability that you are likely to be normal, you are likely to be abnormal. What is the likelihood? So, if you want to make the statistics so simple, just understand two, three keywords that 100,000. If there is a 1,000 population and 500 people are affected by stress, then we say that 100,000 people, 500 people are affected. That is the figure. But if you say that 50% people are affected, right, out of 100 is 50%. Percent. Out of 100 is percent. That is the percent. But in case of probability, in case of statistics, we don't use 100. We use 1 as a unit. Total area under the curve is 1. Even if it is 1,000, it is 1. Even if it is 1 lakh, it is 1. That is the probability science and statistics is taking as a unit. And this 500 will be labeled here as a 0.5. That is the statistics. So 0.5, that is 50%, and we'll call it as a zero point 0.5. Similarly, if you are having figure over here, 5, then it will be 0.5% here, 0.5% here, and it will be 0.05. Now take a deep breath, just try to understand. This is the most simple thing to understand, and for rest of the statistics will be made simple, 50% simple. When I say that, there is a, I should write like this to make it clear. And let me, yeah, 0.5%. So if it is a 5, here we'll label it as a 0.5%, and here we'll label 0.05. So now when we say the probability, P means probability of event occurring by chance. Here, whether you are a big boss or doctor, you may not repeat over here with your loud mind, but at least in mind you speak that P is the probability of event occurring by chance. P means probability of occurring event by chance. If you remember this, P means probability of event occurring by chance. And if you remember that 0.05 is 0.5%, and if it is a, let's say 10, right? Here, now I just for the time being, I will remove this to make it a simple. Now we have comparison only with percentage and probability. So 1 means 100%. That means 0.5 means 50%. Looks very simple, but this is very important to understand. 0.1 means 10%. So if you take 0.05 is 5%. Now, if you come to use this word, P means probability of occurring event by chance. If now the P value is this, you will understand much better that any event can occur by chance. That means randomly, but it just happens without any reason. If it is by chance, then we can say that not significant. No clear-cut reason is there. No clear reason is there. And if it is not by chance, then we can say that it is significant. Now, I go very slowly to explain this because most of the time people say that if probability P is less than 0.0, if less than, then why it should be significant? If it is more than, it should be significant. But the P is not something which is understood simply. P is a probability of event occurring by chance. P means probability of event occurring by chance. So this occurring by chance, if it is less than 5%, that means it is not by chance that what we are going to accept. And that's why we start with null hypothesis that whatever is occurring in the world is occurring by chance. There is no significant reason. That is our null hypothesis. And when we say the null hypothesis, chances probability that this is true is less than 5%, means less than 0.05%, we reject null hypothesis and say that there is some reason. So when we find out the p-value, when we talk about the normal distribution curve, remember p means probability of occurring event by chance. If it is less than 5%, if it is less than 0.05, we call it as a significance. And in later date, in last few lectures, we'll say that p-values also have no value nowadays. Only the range of p-value is a value. But that will be later date we will be talking. Remember that by chance means not significant, not by chance that is significant. These are the equivalent words. So this is something on probability, and we talk about mean, mode, prevention, etc. also. But just few minutes on the research. We'll be sharing this slide with you because on Thursday we are going to have build on all the three things together. When we talk about medical research, there are two things, observation and reasoning. In that also, we'll have two things, inductive and deductive. So what happens in inductive reasoning, right? For observation, we go to the theory. That is the induction. And in deduction, we have a theory. We go for the observation and then we confirm or refuse the theory. So then we may, based on observation, we can reject the theory. This will be taking with an example because we talked a little bit on statistics, little on epidemiology, and next session will be going much deeper into both all the three areas. So women tend to have a lower heart attack. There's observation. Postmenopausal women have much higher heart attack rates. There's another observation. And postmenopausal women on estrogens tend to have a lower heart attack rates. That means its hypothesis inductive is estrogens offer protection from heart attacks. From observation, we talked about the theory hypothesis. That is an inductive approach. Why? In deductive approach, what will happen? Estrogens offer protection from heart attack. Then control trials are done involving postmenopausal women. And then observation may be estrogen provides no extra protection from heart attack. So hypothesis not sustained. This is a deductive approach. Inductive and deductive. The observation, you make a theory, and based on theory, you find out whether this theory is true or not. That is a deductive approach. So this is basically the cycle of inductive and deductive approaches. If you take in the research, then you will be able to come to the near to the truth. Few other examples we'll say later on. Now, I would take you to an observation. The next time, uh, by tomorrow afternoon, we'll be sharing with you epidemiology, epinfo files for the installment purpose. So that if you install the software, you can also use it. So we'll be giving you the zip files which you just need to copy and start using it. It will be coupled in two things: a pin for 7 folder and the file to launch the API info. You just then press this. This is just I'm casually showing. I'm not teaching you. It will take much time. But just giving an idea, some of you can go to the WHO site or CDC Atlanta site and can also download. The thing, the first command is read. You read the file. So where is your file? You should be knowing. Will all are requested to take one the research project, and next time I'll be talking to which research project would you like to take. Based on that, you'll be creating database either in AP Info or in Excel, and we'll be enjoying analysis our own data. That is a beautiful rather than someone else data. But right now, I'm just taking the Oswego file, which is given by the WHO. 75 people went for the party, and some of them were sick, some of them were not sick. So AP Info data analysis has now reading this file. We'll read the file. There is 75 records are there. In you can simply use the tables command to compare the difference between those who are ill. Exposure is, let's say, a fruit salad versus illness. Simple table commands, give a OK, and result is there. You can see the fruit salad. You can see the fruit salad. 6 people, yeah, had taken fruit salad. 69 had not taken. Out of 6, 4 people sick, 66%, and out of 16, 40 to 6, 60%. This difference, 66% and 60%, is significant or not? Is it by chance or not? That is given by APINFO in terms of p-value. And p-value is over here 0.7. That is 70% chances. Probability of event occurring by chance is 0.77. That means 77% are chances that this has occurred by chance. It is not less than 5%. It is not less than 0.05. So we can say that mostly fruit salad is not associated with illness. While probably all of you might be liking vanilla. Any one of you like vanilla out of your group? If you like it, just open the mic and say yes, you like it. If you don't like, you can say I don't like. I'm looking for your answer.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Let's see whether vanilla has done any havoc or not. So vanilla versus illness in that 75 people. Let's see what is the reason. You can see on the board 54 people took vanilla ice cream while 21 had not taken. Out of that, 43 had suffered from illness, yes, 79%. While about 21, only 3 had suffered. Even if they had not taken vanilla, 14% had suffered. So 79% means from the 14%, or literally you can say that 65% were more affected. Whether this 65% gap is significant or not, can it occur by chance? Yes, it can occur by chance. But probably ability of occurring of this event by chance, let's see what is the p-value. Yeah, is less than 0.000018. In millions of time, if see this occurrence occurs millions of times, there is a less than the 1% chance that may be because not because of vanilla. So is a highly significant that vanilla is associated with illness. And we want to find out the regression equation in future, you have logistic regression also with you, where you select outcome as illness and you take a various the fruit salads and what are the vanilla, all the factors, maybe 10, 15 factors. Now you think yes or no, or maybe protective factors, maybe a sex, you can take male or female. All this thing you can select and can find out how much they were related. You can find out odd ratio in addition to the p-value. You can find out the z value, all these things we are going to learn. What is the significance of this? You can see that fruit salad zero point 0.8, here it is point less than 0.000, it is 0.03, etc. Now, if you have observed, fruit salad was somewhere 0.77 some point of time, it is 0.82. Why it's like that? Because this analysis, logistic regression analysis, is removing the effect and standardizing the data and gives a more better data than the individual tables. So this is a multi-weight analysis which is much more useful than single 2 by 2 table. So I hope you have learned something today. Next session we are going to take on Thursday, 8 o'clock, and this session is recorded. Recorded version will also be shared with you. Also, the PPT will be shared with you. I expect that all of you should install the software Info 7 in your desktop or the laptop, and that will be much better. Last 1 2 minutes, or maybe if you have a problem, maybe few minutes more is open for question answer. Unfortunately, chat is not open, but next time I will to see that chat is open for all of you. All right. So, any question? I'm very pleased to see Arthur McWan, my colleague who studied with me, and he has joined to
Yes, sir.
just give me a boost. Right, Arthur McWan? Hello.
Yes.
So, and let us hope you, if you can join on Thursday also, we
Sure.
discuss something about your research project, which you can take and how you can do it. And you
Sure.
can also motivate your nurses or assistant so that they can help you in data analysis because you may not have find the time to do that. Right?
Yeah. Sure.
So, any other Satyajit Patra, Sheshkaran, anyone wants to give any feedback? Okay, thank you all. We'll meet again on Thursday. You can share your details or question, answers, suggestions, etc. in the WhatsApp group also. Thank you all.
Okay, bye.